Today I'm going to take you through the 10 bucket list items, the 10 events, the 10 things that my whole 12-month trip was built around. So what I did is I sat down and I thought of 10 things. If I was going to travel the world, what are 10 things that I could not afford to not do? And so I came up with those 10 things. Most of those things are things that I've wanted to do virtually my whole life. A couple of the things are new. But anyway, let's go through and we'll go through them one by one and I'll take the opportunity to tell you about them.
Yo, you don't even know what you're looking at.
I know.
What? Colombia in the house. Ozzy.
Down here.
Number one is a trip through Chile. I've heard a ton of great things about Chile over my prior travels, and so I've been wanting to travel Chile for a few years now. I've heard, the country's so long, it's got so many different ecological environments, so much different terrain that I'm just going to start in the north, and I'm going to make my way to the south, probably on a motorcycle. I'm going to use a motorcycle for a lot of my travel during this trip. There's a couple main things on my Chile agenda. There's a 80 plus mile Patagonia trek that I'm going to be excited about. And then there's the Southern Tip Trail that's supposed to be a super good hike. Other than that, I don't know what I'm going to do in Chile. I'll figure it out once I get there. And I know I'll spend some time in Santiago, maybe a week or so there. Depends on what it's like. I don't know. I've never been. But anyway, yeah, that's Chile. Number two is the Northern Lights. I've always wanted to see the Northern Lights. I think most people do. When I originally came up with the plan to see the Northern Lights, my thought was to do a race called the Fire and Ice Ultra Marathon. And it's a very difficult 130 mile trek through pretty much the whole country of Iceland. But the required gear requirement for that race was it was pretty ridiculous. It was 28 items. And for me to be able to do that on my trip, like that is something that you would travel to Iceland, just for that and bring the gear needed, not stuff I'll have with me on trip. And so, in effort to forego putting that many resources into one thing, I cut that. I'm still going to go to Reykjavik and figure out where to go from there, because I don't know. We'll see. Number three on the list, probably should have moved it down some, is the thing that I'm most unsure about right now with the current political climate, and that is visiting Russia. I've met a lot of Russians on my prior travels, and every Russian I've ever met loves to party. That was my original draw towards Russia, but now that I'm older, my priorities have shifted. I still want to go just to check it out. Tons of stories about Russia. Never been, don't know what it's like, but want to figure it out if things get better and they open the country back up to tourism. Number four is the Great Wall of China. I think every kid originally is attracted to the Great Wall. I'm going to be spending probably a month in China over the Chinese New Year, and so the Great Wall is definitely something that I'll hit on there. I'm not going to walk the whole thing or anything like that. I just want to stand on it and see what it's like. Look over on the other side. Number five is down under. So it's I want to hike the Great Ocean Road. That's going to be like 64 miles. And it's along the southern/southwest coast of Australia. It starts like around the Brisbane area. It's supposed to be beautiful views. Holy Florida Georgia Line, a great song. The music video was shot there on the Great Ocean Road. So definitely want to go check that out. While I'm down south, I also want to get back underwater and go diving. So I want to scuba the Great Barrier Reef. Probably have to do a couple tune-up dives before then, so definitely be on the lookout for that content. Number seven will actually be the second thing I do on the trip, and that is to summit Kilimanjaro. So after Chile, I'm going to be going to Africa. I'm going to start in South Africa and then make my way north. So the ultimate plan is summit Kilimanjaro. You have to have a guide. The quickest trips that I can find online are like 7-day trips. There's some 7, 8, 9-day trips. I don't want to do that. I want to see if I can find, a more expedited trip, maybe like a 3-day, something like that. Because these 7, 8-day trips, these people are hiking like 8, 9 miles a day. So hopefully I can find like somebody to get me up there in 3 days. maybe 4. Number 8 is hike Mount Blanc. So there's a 102-mile loop it could start anywhere, but start in Chamonix, which is France. It's a town in France. And it goes through Italy and Switzerland, and it's the race course for a race called UTMB, which is like the original 100-miler, the biggest 100-miler in the world, super hard to get into. I didn't get into the race. The race is like a month after I'm going to be there, but I want to do the race course. So it'll probably be 3 days. I'll stay in accommodation each night and do 30, 40 miles a day, because it is some serious climbing. I mean, that 102 miles has 34,000 feet of gain, so it's definitely some serious climbing. Number 9 is in Nepal. So hike to Everest Base Camp. That's 70, 80 miles. It starts at 8,000 feet and base camp sets at 17.7, so that's going to be a badass trip. I recently read something that's saying Nepal is looking at implementing mandatory guides for Everest Base Camp. So I don't know if I'm going to have a guide. Originally my plan would be to do it solo, but maybe hire a guide depending on the cost, just for the knowledge that guide can provide. And then number 10, number 10 is the fun one. So number 10 is Yacht Week in Croatia. I've always wanted to party on a badass yacht in a badass place, so what better than Yacht Week in Croatia? I'm going to be in Europe for a few months anyway, so number 10 is party on a yacht in Croatia. So those are my 10 bucket list items, and like I say, that's what the trip started with. Those 10 things, and I said, how do we fit them together? And so that's how I developed the whole agenda for the trip and the whole design of the trip. So tell me what you think, comment, questions, anything, send them my way. Let's talk about it.